Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I am going to finally be ranking my top 32 NFL quarterbacks going into this season. I do want to let you guys know, since it is the 4th of July week, I am going to be out of town from Wednesday to Sunday, so pretty much any video you guys are going to see after today has the potential to be pre-recorded. And the only reason I really like to let you guys know that is because if something massive happens and I don't mention it, well, some people will wonder why. Real quick before we hop into today's video, do not forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. And again, I will plug this until the end of time. The Prize Picks NFL seasonal prediction window has opened up. You can go ahead and pick if your quarterbacks are going to throw more or less than a specific amount of yards. You can do receivers and receiving yards. There's rush yards, pass touchdowns, receptions touchdowns, rush touchdowns, sacks. But remember to always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. Alright folks, so here we are at today's list, and with no introduction needed, we will start at the bottom with number 32. Anybody want to guess it? Well, if you guessed Daniel Jones, you're absolutely right. He is just a lousy, passionless, unmotivated quarterback. There's absolutely no spark with this guy. He looks scared to be out there, he looks hesitant every time he throws the ball, and plus he's just not good. He's been around for 5 years, and at his absolute peak, he has been mediocre. This will be the last ride for Daniel Jones, I can almost promise that. Moving on to 31. We got Deshaun Watson, and I don't want to keep bringing up what's happened in his past, but what's happened in his past is the reason I think he is so low here. And I'm going to sound like a broken record. I know I've said this a million times, but this guy is living in his own head, man. He is not the same guy who was on Houston. You can see it when he's out there. He's not comfortable. He's not focused because he's constantly thinking about the guilt weighing down on him. Constantly thinking about everybody watching him, everybody on the internet who hates his guts. The quarterback he has been on the Browns has been a bad quarterback. He looks impatient and he looks careless, and I think that's because his mind isn't actually focused on the game. Moving on to 30, give me JJ McCarthy / Sam Darnold. For one, Sam Darnold's absolutely dog shit. He's not going to have a bounce back because he's not bouncing back from anything. The guy is never good. And two, I know nothing about JJ McCarthy other than the fact that he just won a national championship, and he's not an absolute gunslinger. I know that much. And if you're sitting there thinking, bro must not watch college football. Yeah, I don't. 29, give me Bo Nix. Now, this is the guy that gets made fun of for his age all the time, but when it comes down to it, I wouldn't be shocked if he had a better rookie season than a lot of the rookie quarterbacks, considering he has had so much experience. Well, that and Sean Payton's gonna be his head coach, and Sean Payton makes any quarterback good. He's made Teddy B good, he made Jameis Winston good. Hell, he even got Russ's touchdowns back up last year, even though he hated him. Bo might be okay. Up next at 28, give me Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner. Look, I think he's gonna be electric. I want him to be successful, but I question him going to the Commanders run by Dan Quinn, where his OC is going to be Cliff fucking Kingsbury. That sounds like an absolute puke fest. Moving on to 27, give me Drake May. Not very familiar with this guy, but I've heard from multiple people that if Caleb Williams would not have been in this draft class, it would have been an actual fight for the #1 pick between this guy and Jaden Daniels. Now, that's obviously not everybody's thought, but I've heard that more than one time. The guy throws a really clean ball with a tight spiral. But outside of his tape, yeah, like I said, I got little to nothing. And if Jacoby Brissett was on the list, I'd put him right by him because I'd rank them about the same. Jacoby ain't bad, but he's a bridge quarterback. Moving on at 26, give me Derek Carr. And before anybody's like, whoa, you don't respect him at all anymore. No, I do. I put him above a bunch of rookies and a sex offender. And that's all he's gonna go above, because that's all I'd take him over, because he ain't shit! 25, Bryce Young. I have high hopes for Bryce. I don't think we're gonna see him on another roster as a backup after this season. I think he's gonna turn it around and show a lot of people why he was the #1 overall pick. He's got a much better supporting cast around him. He's got a much better coach. Well, I think anybody's much better than Frank Reich at this point. And I don't think as much pressure will be weighing on him because not as many people will be studying every move he makes because there's a whole new class of rookies to criticize now. Have trust on this. 24, give me Caleb Williams. Look, if he's supposed to be everything that they drafted, then this guy should be in the top 10 conversation after this year. And I will go on to say that I've probably seen the most out of him out of any of these college guys, and he does look like a freak. Accurate, he's got a cannon, he's got a crazy ability to throw on the run. We just need to see if it can transition into the NFL or not. Moving on to 23, give me Anthony Richardson. He's basically still a rookie because he barely got to play last year, but I think this guy is going to be an absolute monster, dude. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, moves like he's Christian McCaffrey. He can throw a ball 80 yards off his back fucking foot if he needs to. If he remains healthy, I'm going to bet you it's week 7 or 8 where people start bringing up the Josh Allen comparisons. That'll bring us to 22. We got Gardner Minshew, man. Like I said, he's a dog. He'll do whatever he's asked, and he ain't scared of anything or anyone. The guy's got a good arm, too. He's accurate. You know, there's a reason that now throughout 6 years and 5 different teams, he has remained relevant. And that's because the fucker can play. All right, 21, give me Will Levis. I think he might end up being the Josh Allen of last year's class, you know, the strong arm guy that a lot of teams were skeptical on, including myself, and ended up being a guy that I absolutely love and will be a dog for years to come. I see a little bit of Rodgers and I see a little bit of Herbert in this guy, dude. He flicks his wrist and the ball comes out like he's throwing it 90 miles an hour. Got a great arm, he's patient. If he has a chance to extend a play, he's gonna do it. And like I said, if he ends up being what I think he's gonna be, the Titans offense is gonna be an absolute nightmare. Now moving on to 20, we got Geno Smith. I think he's an average quarterback, and that's a very respectable way to put it. He's not top 10, he's not bottom 10. He throws a clean ball, doesn't really turn it over all that much, but I do think he's limited. He's not going to do many jaw-dropping, extravagant plays. He's not going to be the guy time and time again to strap a team on his back and drive him down the field when nothing's working. He can be orchestrated for success with a team effort, and I think that's his ceiling. Moving on to 19, we got Russell Wilson. I don't think he's nearly as bad as a lot of people make him out to be. He can still step back and drop a dart in the end zone. He's still got his winning mentality on it. He can still evade pressure when he actually knows it's coming at him. I think it's going to make a considerable difference to have him in an organization where he's actually supported by the team and the coach, and the locker room is not just an enormous split decision. Tell you what, if he goes on the Steelers and he flat out stinks, then I'm done on the Russ bus. I will finally hop off. Moving on to 18, we got Baker Mayfield. He is a solid quarterback, man. Bounced back in my face with 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, and brought his team to a playoff victory. Might not be the most accurate, might not be the smartest quarterback, but he is never scared to throw that ball. And he's a lot like Josh Allen in the aspect where if he makes a mistake, it doesn't define his game. He sits on the sideline, resets his mind, and comes back a new man. Moving on to 17, we got Kyler Murray. He is a talented quarterback who, to be honest, I don't think has really ever been set up for much success. My gripe with him used to be his arrogance, but I think he's become a lot more likable since Cliff has left the team, and to be honest, that might have just been the problem all along with him. Kyler throws a pretty ball. He can run. He can throw on the run exceptionally well, but the one thing that I've noticed with Kyler is it seems like sometimes he will get a little bit impatient with the current play. And what I mean by that is he'll abandon it and take it into his own hands, thinking that he can extend it more with his own legs, and it will either come as a loss of yards or absolutely nothing when he could have hit somebody for something. But I definitely do not despise the guy anymore. Now moving on to 16, we have Mr. Limited, Tua. He has a lot of good things about him, don't get me wrong. He led the league in passing. He threw 29 touchdowns. He had a phenomenal completion percentage. You want to see the not so good things that weigh him down here? Well, go look at him versus winning teams. Go look at him in the playoffs. Go look at him in cold weather. Go look at him try and close out the game versus the Bills last year for the AFC East Championship in Week 18. 15, give me Aaron Rodgers. It's been a couple years since we've really gotten to see him play. We really haven't gotten to see him play with the Jets at all, if I'm being honest. But you gotta assume he's still got something left in the tank. A guy who is going to end up on the top 10 quarterback list of all time. One of the most dangerous, accurate, deadly quarterbacks ever. He wouldn't be playing if he didn't think his body could do it, so I'm gonna assume he's still gonna be fine. 14, give me Trevor Lawrence. I think he might have taken a tumble from where he was last year because obviously 2 years ago he had that excellent season. But I still don't think he is all that bad. I do not believe he should have been playing with a bum ankle like he was this year, but he still showed a lot of signs and progression, and that goes just down to his throwing. You know how many of his passes last year were dropped? How many touchdown passes were dropped? And I don't want to bring up Calvin Ridley, but I think he had 2 or 3 of them. He didn't have the greatest season, but I also think his stats were a little bit negatively inflated as well. 13, give me Kirk Cousins. One of the safest quarterbacks you can have in the league. But as much as it pains me to say this, I do think he has a little bit of a ceiling as well. And what I mean by that is the guy isn't going to run out of the pocket, do a 360, grab his junk, and throw a touchdown. But if you give him a clean pocket in more than 3 seconds to throw the ball, it will result in a completion and more than likely a first down every single time. Got one of the best, most accurate arms in all of football. We just gotta hope his Achilles doesn't take anything away from that, which it shouldn't. Moving on to 12, we got Matt Stafford. He got a lot of respect from me last year. Now, like I've said before, he's not the same guy he was on the Lions. He doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have the zip. But that's gonna happen when you're aging 13, 14 years. Still accurate, still makes passes that make you go, what the fuck? I'm not saying this is a good thing, but he's the kind of guy where you could break his fucking arm clean in half and he is going to insist to the coach that it's just a bruise so he can go out there and finish the job. I'd go to war for Matt Stafford. Now moving on to 11, we got Jalen Hurts. He's not everybody's favorite. He is not the most consistent, but I think he does everything at an above average level. Throws a nice spiral. He's great at improvising. We know he has good legs. Just last year they were used in a really weird way. I'm honestly expecting this year, especially with a defense that can support the team, he'll have a pretty big bounce back. Number 10, give me Dak Prescott. The guy's throwing 30 touchdowns 3 times in the last 5 fucking years. He led the entire league in passing touchdowns this year. People love to hate Dak. He is an absolute flamethrower, and he could win a Super Bowl. Absolutely. But he's on Dallas, so fuck him, right? 9, give me Brock Purdy. Pretty hard to dog a guy who just took his team to the Super Bowl, nearly threw for 70%, had over 30 touchdowns, passer rating of 113 on the season. If you want to question him outside of the organization, that's fine, but who knows if we'll get to see it. And inside that organization, he's playing like a top 10 quarterback. Moving on to number 8, give me Jared Goff. I think he has proven that he is a successful Super Bowl caliber quarterback. I mean, he's already made it to 1, nearly made it to 2. But he is a guy, no matter what situation he is in, he will ball. Now, he will make some throws that, if you're a Lions fan, make you want to turn off your TV, but at the same time, he will make some of the most improbable throws that will end up in completions that you have ever seen. Kind of reminds me of Joe Burrow, or Joe Burrow reminds me of him, I guess. 7, give me Jordan Love just by a smidge. I just have to give him so much credit, though. From the first half of the season to how he ended the season, especially completion percentage-wise, patience-wise. But he also threw for 32 passing touchdowns, where 2 of the receivers he was primarily using were rookies. I think he's a leader. I think the team rallies behind him. And I think the more confident he becomes, the better he becomes, which is flat out just fucking dangerous. And that'll bring us to number 6, where we have CJ Stroud. He is an animal. He throws a beautiful ball. He is extremely patient, and he don't really appear to crack under pressure. I mean, yeah, Baltimore's defense killed him, but he destroyed Cleveland's in the playoffs, so like, what are you gonna say about that? He won Rookie of the Year last year with flying colors, and I think to anybody who doesn't know football who watched him play last year would have probably thought he was in the league already for 5 or 6 seasons. Moving on to 5, give me Justin Herbert, one of, if not the best pure passers in the league. 4 seasons he has played. 3 of those years he has been over 4,000 yards. 1 of those years he was over 5,000 yards. Not to mention, this year was the year he missed the 4,000 yard mark and he was hurt. He is so accurate, so patient, so consistent. If he would have had a head coach that would have had any sort of brain in their damn head for his first 4 years of his career, they could have actually threatened the Kansas City Chiefs. 4, give me Joe Burrow. Love him to death. He's an absolute tank. He is the quarterback to strap a team on his back and do whatever is necessary to get down the field. He's the kind of quarterback where if he sees a window between 3 defenders, he's gonna take that window. He's an underrated scrambler. He is an elite improviser, and the guy has got bowling balls for testicles. Number 3, give me Lamar. Still don't think he's even close to the best passer in the league, but there is no arguing against his success. He wins games and he finds ways to get in the end zone no matter what, if it's his arm, if it's his legs. And I will say his ability to throw while taking a pop is probably up there in the best of the league. I'll give that to him. He's got a lot of grit. 2, give me Josh Allen. He's a freak of nature. No arguing about it. Yeah, he throws a lot of picks. So does Patrick Mahomes. So does Matt Stafford. So did Brett Favre. The guy can throw the ball to anywhere on the field, from anywhere on the field. He's impossible to tackle when he's on the run. And that adds into it, he might just be the most unpredictable quarterback in the league right now. You never know what he's gonna do. The guy scored 45 fucking touchdowns for the Bills last year. That is the most touchdowns scored by a single athlete on any team by a long shot. He is an absolute monster, and with the game on the line, there is nobody else in the league I would take. He doesn't lose. His defense does. Every time. And number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Like, do we need to do this? I don't think we do. Like, he's just the best in the league and everybody knows it. Fuck you, Patrick. Woo! Anyway, guys, that is going to be all for my top 32 NFL quarterbacks. As always, I had a ton of fun making this. Let me know in the comments how badly the list sucked, how much I don't know ball. I always will have fun going through it anyway. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Like I said, future videos will probably be pre-recorded, but as always, I'll see you in the next video.